Assalamualaikum and greetings to fellow attendees. Welcome to our forum discussing about a new AI-powered technology, self-driving cars. I will introduce to our panelists, Mr. Zaki as a daily road user, Ms. Shaira as our car specialist, and Ms. Izati as an elder citizen, Ms. Aisha as our professional car mechanic, and Ms. Darwisha as a senior reporter of News Strait Times. And my name is Muhammad Iqmal as the moderator for today. We are going to discuss that should self-driving cars take over the roads? First of all, what are self-driving cars and how does it work? Self-driving cars are a new way to drive cars nowadays using artificial intelligence, also known as an AI technology, which allow a machine to move as a program. In in this case, the car can move without a driver, but with an AI controlling it, so the driver can just relax on the seat and let the car itself drive. Although, according to a report from a US car safety regulator, there are nearly 400 car crashes relating to self-driving cars. So it seems that it is pretty dangerous, but surely it has some benefit, right? So let's start by hearing our panelists' opinion, starting with Mr. Zaki, a daily roads user.
Hello there, and thank you, Ikmal, for giving me the opportunity to be in this discussion. It is mentioned in the issue that there are 400 car crashes related to self-driving cars in the year 2021. It is terrible news, but we have to see the bigger picture. In the same year, there are also 42,000 people who died in car crash that does not have self-driving capability. According to NHTSA, there is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. This brings me to my second point. The reason that there are so many accidents occur every year is because of human errors such as alcohol, impatience, speeding, aggressive driving, running through the red light, and many more. Self-driving cars make system error too, but the report shows system error still kept the accidents rate significantly low compared to human error. While time goes by, technology is still advancing, making the self-driving car safer in the future. For my third point is, the benefit of self-driving car is that going to work while not having to hold the steering wheel could improve our productivity at work. This is because studies have shown that doing nothing could help with our productivity because it clears our mind and having time to relax, while driving manually to work kept our mind constantly on focus mode. Another benefit of self-driving car is that the study of Ohio University Future of Driving report states that harmful emission will be reduced by 60% after the coming of autonomous vehicles. This is because having fewer accidents will lead to reduce of traffic congestion and at the same time reducing the emission of carbon dioxide in the air. And that is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Now let's hear our car specialist, Ms. Shahira.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. First, I claim that the reliability of autonomous vehicles far more superior to human drivers in terms of safety. Basically, research shows that 90% of crashes are caused by human error. That's why the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which was addressed by our first panel, is now focusing on systems that allow the vehicle to monitor the car's surroundings, warning the driver of danger, and even taking control of the car in some situations. Next, self-driving car has automated safety features to navigate roads. The implied system forward collision warning is using the sensors and cameras to monitor the distance between the car and the car in front. This will calculate if the driver is in danger of hitting another car and indirectly give a warning with an audible and visual signal. This unconsciously alerts the driver of danger. It is proven that the autonomous vehicle have the potential to reduce crashes, prevent injuries, and save lives. The second reason is autonomous vehicle gives top priority to passenger safety. For example, the brakes will pre-charge to provide maximum braking power to the driver, and some systems will tighten seat belts in preparation for a collision. The forwarding collision warning systems sometimes go a step further by automatically braking the vehicle if the driver does not respond quickly enough. The braking eventually will reduce the chance of injury and damage as it is reducing the speed of the vehicle. The capability of autonomous vehicle is aligned with the goals of reducing accidents on the roads. As you can see, the feature is available on some vehicle models such as Volvo City Safety and also Subaru Eyesight systems. For example, this car can do the emergency brake at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. In addition, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has found a 7% reduction in crashes for vehicles with a simple forward collision warning system, and a 14 to 15% reduction for vehicles with automatic braking. In the conclusion, I believe with the capabilities of autonomous vehicles could take over the roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Chaira. Okay, next we can hear Miss Izzati point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ikmal and my fellow panelists. Now I'll be sharing my thoughts on why I believe self-driving cars will have a significant impact on society, especially for the elderly. It has been well known that older people face transportation challenge because they might drive less or not at all. They may lack access to a personal vehicle and thus need to rely on their family members or public transportation service. This is a result of their aging-related physical difficulties such as visual and mobility impairment, which will affect their capacity to safely drive or operate a car. Therefore, self-driving car will be very handy to the elderly or other groups who face a similar difficulty with driving. Elderly people frequently require weekly or monthly medical appointments, as we know. So finding a ride to a doctor appointment, a social event, or even their workplace can be made less stressful. Additionally, I believe self-driving vehicle would make travel more accessible by allowing the elderly to travel regularly to and from their homes without having to wait for their family members' availability. People generally tends to dislike having to rely solely and only on their relatives to get them to their appointment because people always value their freedom and independence. Not only that, the car technology could guarantee the elders' safety as it drove them safely to a designated location. Given this, it is clear that the use of automatic cars in the daily life of senior citizens could benefit them in various ways. That's all from me.
Thank you, Miss Izzati. Now let's hear from our professional car mechanic, Miss Aisha.
First of all, thank you to Mr. Ikmal for letting me join this discussion. So now let me share my point of view. My argument is that self-driving cars should not be taken over the road as there is possibility for this car to be hacked by irresponsible people such as terrorists. So for those who are unaware, hacking is basically an attempt to exploit a computer system. Simply put, it is the unauthorized access to computer network security system for some illicit purpose. Modern vehicles have a higher chance to be hacked than many other older generation cars because they have features and connections that linking them to the outside world much more. So as we know, self-driving cars which use new technology features such as Bluetooth, sensor and artificial intelligence (AI) are more susceptible to be hacked, and this could damage the car in ways that human cannot detect it. For example, the hacker can make the AI blind for pedestrian, which means the sensor cannot detect the pedestrian that may be on the road or trying to cross the wall. Supposedly, whenever the sensor's car detects an object on the road, it will automatically slow down. But imagine if the car failed to detect the object, which is pedestrians, then a collision could result from this, which could be fatal. This happened when the hacker is hijacking the system, which is take over the system, and manipulating the image recognition component to misclassify the pedestrians. So, Steve Pavolny, head of McAfee Advanced Street Research, said in his email interview that a driver can likely recognize the car's error if it is suddenly speed up, and the driver can take over the car as soon as possible. However, it will be very dangerous if the driver eventually sat in the back seat reading a newspaper, as they could not control the car if anything bad happened. So, this attack could be very dangerous for the passengers, for the driver itself, pedestrians, and also another user on the road. So, my conclusion is self-driving cars should not be taken over the road, as it can lead to the collisions that caused by the cyber attack. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Aisha. Miss Darwisha, since you are a senior reporter of the News Strait Times, do you agree with Miss Shaira?
Thank you, Mr. Ikmal, for the opportunity to join this discussion. As a reporter, I disagree with Ms. Shahira. Self-driving cars currently have a higher rate of accidents than human-driven cars. On average, there are 9.1 self-driving car accidents per million miles driven, while the same rate is 4.1 crashes per million miles for regular vehicles. One of the dangers inherent with driverless cars includes their imperfect technology. Since driverless cars is a new technology, it still needs more testing and has weaknesses. A 2020 AAA study found that vehicles equipped with active driving assistance systems experience some type of issue on the average of every 8 miles in real-world driving. They also found that active driving assistance systems that combine vehicle acceleration with braking and steering, often disengage with little notice, requiring the driver to resume control immediately. It's easy to see how this scenario can end in disaster if the driver is distracted, even momentarily, or relying too much on the system's capabilities. According to an article by the Washington Post, a fatality involving a driverless Tesla occurred in Texas when it crashed, killing both passengers, and the car continued to burn for 4 hours, but police reported no one was driving the vehicle. Yes, drivers are supposed to be alert and ready to take over control at a moment's notice. But how likely is that when the driverless car was purchased to be, well, driverless? Jason Levine, Executive Director of the Center for Auto Safety, expressed concern that the NHTSA is too focused on enabling the rapid deployment of self-driving vehicles by amending rules written for cars with drivers. He also noted that recognizing the unique characteristics of autonomous technology may be the fastest way to authorize the deployment of autonomous vehicles, but it is not a consumer safety-driven approach. With the high rate of accidents by self-driving cars, clearly self-driving cars are not the best cars to be driven on the roads at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your opinions. Now, Mr. Zaki, your point is that the driver can be relaxed and don't have to think about the stress of driving, right? But why can't they just use public transport? Wouldn't that be more relaxing?
Thank you, Ikmal, for your question. As you may know, taking the public transport is time-consuming, and having to wait for the bus, waiting for the train, and having to stand up in the train is very exhausting, making us feel more tired during work. So that is why it is better to relax in the car.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Even though the car safety system are good, why is there still a huge number of incidents happening involving this driverless car? Can you give your opinion, Ms. Shaira?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Ikmal. I would like to start my point with, do you believe with the power that technology holds? I could not deny that with self-driving cars, accidents can still occur due to both computer and physical errors. But autonomous vehicle has decreased the percentage of death by the crashes rather than normal cars. The accidents made by the autonomous vehicles has far much less severe injuries. As a car specialist, I do believe that the advancement of the technologies have changed the automotive industry, and one of it is developing self-driving cars on a larger scale. Automotive technology goals are to improve the safety, performance, and efficiency of vehicles, and not to forget to reduce traffic congestion. I'm sure with the cutting edge technology will minimize both computer and physical errors, which indirectly will improve the autonomous car and convince people that self-driving cars are more reliable, while at the same time getting us closer to the concept of smart city. There is a quote written by Mary Tyler, which take chances, make mistakes, and that's how you grow. In the terms of expanding the technology capabilities, we must evaluate the weak points, and from there, the greatness will come. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Shaira. Miss Izati, your point is good and valid that we can ease the senior citizen and the transportation issues. But wouldn't it be better if one of the family members could drive for them? I personally would drive my parents wherever they desire.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Ikmal. I think even the most advanced technology cannot compare to the amount of quality we spend with our parents. However, I believe autonomous car would give our parents more flexibility and effective scheduling so they could travel more often and feel less stress. As I previously mentioned, it is expected that self-driving car will be safer than those with human drivers as the probability of an accident will be lower. That's why it makes sense that we incorporate autonomous vehicle into the lives of our elderly.
Thank you, Miss Izati. Now, Miss Shaira point out that driverless car safety system are pretty high. Miss Aisha, don't you think that they can still improve the system to prevent someone from hacking the car?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So to answer this question, for me, even if the system have higher security level or have multiple protections, it could still be attacked. Why? Because hacker skills are beyond our expectations. We cannot expect their move. Plus, these software protections must be updated regularly in order to protect the car from malicious activity. So that means even if you have the highest security level but you forget to update it, then it is useless as hacker can easily break into the systems and take over your car. So that's for my answer.
Thank you, Miss Aisha. Miss Darwisha, you mentioned that self-driving cars have imperfect technology. Can you elaborate more?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Ikmal. Machine error must be considered while weighing the benefits and drawbacks of a self-driving vehicle. Self-driving cars use deep machine learning, or as we know, artificial intelligence. One of the features required by the car using artificial intelligence is object recognition. This feature is very important because it detects every object around the car to prevent collision. The main drawback of this feature is it needs a lot of neural network training and could never be perfect. In order to make it near to perfection, the system needs to receive every data it can from training, including from their car users. For example, artificial intelligence robots have speedy reflexes and uncompromising attention, but they can misidentify risks. Like when an Uber self-driving car mistook a person pulling a bicycle across the road for a car, anticipating it to drive faster than it really did. The data will then be sent to the neural network to prevent future accidents. It is beneficial to the car's manufacturer but risks a lot of lives. According to statistics released by US safety authorities, automakers recorded nearly 400 crashes of vehicles with partially automated driver assist systems, including 273 involving Teslas. This technology needs a lot more improvement to be able to let the cars be driven on the road safely. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for giving your opinion. So I can conclude that driverless car touching on pros and cons. It sure does make driver less stressed when driving and they can multitasking safely without worrying about. But this type of car had more accident than a manually driven car. But this is still a new technology that can be improved in the upcoming time. So that's all for our forum discussion today. Thank you everyone for participating and have a good day everyone.